Hello everyone, I am Professor Pallavi Devkate. Welcomes you in next exercise of extension 242. Course title is Consumer Psychology in Agribusiness. Okay, in previous lecture we studied about demand and elasticity of demand. Okay, in today's lecture we are going to learn about study of concept of supply and law of supply. Okay, so we see one by one these points. So first point, that is meaning of supply and stock. Okay, so there is slightly difference between meaning of stock and supply. So these two are the different terms. So first of all we see the stock. What is meant by stock? So stock is the total quantity which can be offered for sale if conditions are favorable. That means it is the total quantity which can be offered for sale if conditions are made favorable, then and then only it can be sale. That is called as stock. In the perishable commodity, there is no difference between stock and supply. That means whatever the stock of that particular perishable commodity is becomes the supply. Okay. Then next one, that is meaning and definition of supply. So supply means the quantity of goods and services offered by the producer for the sale at different unit prices in a given market at a given point of time is known as supply. That means in short, the supply means it is the willingness of supplier to offer the goods for the sale at different unit prices is known as supply. Okay, so supply means it is the quantity of goods and services that offered by the producer or suppliers for the sale at different prices in a given market in a given point of time is known as supply. Okay, after definition of supply, next point, that is supply schedule. So this supply schedule is the table or chart which indicate quantity of a commodity offered for sale at various prices is known as supply schedule. Okay, so in this table we can see this is the quantity of milk offered for sale and this is the prices per liter of that particular milk. Okay, so this is the supply schedule. Okay, it is the table which indicate the quantity of commodity offered for sale at various prices. Okay, after supply schedule, next point is supply curve. So this supply curve is a curve which indicate quantity of a commodity offered for sale at different prices. That means whatever the demand schedule, whatever the supply schedule, this supply schedule when it is graphically represent, it becomes supply curve. That means the graphical representation of supply schedule is known as supply curve. So this supply curve in figure, this S dot, it is the supply curve, and the characteristics of supply curve, the supply curve slope upward from left to right. Okay, this is the supply curve. Okay, after that, next point, that is law of supply. So this law of supply indicate the functional relationship between quantity supplied of a commodity and its unit prices. That means it is the relationship between quantity of a commodity supplied and its price. So this law of supply, there is positive relationship between price of a commodity and its supply. That means as the price of commodity rises, its supply tends, and if the price of commodity falls, its supply contracts. Okay, with other things remain same. That means there is direct relationship between supply and price. Okay, that means if the prices of commodity rises, then supply increases, and if prices of commodity falls, then supply decreases. This is the law of supply. Okay, after that, next one, that is extension and contraction of supply. So this extension and contraction of supply, that means first of all we see the extension of supply. So extension of supply means offering more quantity for a sale at a higher prices. When there is higher prices and more quantity is offered for sale at a higher prices is known as extension of supply, while the contraction of supply means offering less quantity at a lower prices. That means in this figure we can see the extension and contraction of supply. So in this figure, the upper movement from A to B, it indicates the extension of supply, and the downward movement from B to A, it indicates contraction of supply. Okay, so this extension and contraction of supply, it's lead to movement of or movement along the supply curve. Okay, after that next one, that is shift in supply curve. So when there is increase or decrease in supply, it leads to shift in supply curve. That means supply curve shift from one place to another place. So first of all we see the increase in supply. So increase in supply implies that more supply at same price, and second one, that is decrease in supply, that means less supply at same price. Okay, the change in supply result in shift in supply curve, and an increase in supply result in shift of supply curve toward the right side, whereas the decrease in supply curve result in shift of supply curve on the left side. Okay, so in this figure we can see the shift in supply curve. So this is the S and S2, these are the two supply curves. So as the increase in supply, it's moved from right. Okay, after that next one, that is factors affecting supply. So under factors affecting supply, first and major factor, that is reduction in relative prices of other product. Okay, so reduction in relative prices of other related products is responsible for increase or decrease in supply. So increase in production of particular commodity whose prices are relatively higher. Okay, so this is the first factor, that is reduction in related prices of other product. Okay, second one is, that is change in technology. So technological innovations like new varieties of crops, their consequent increase in yield per unit area help to increase the supply of a commodity. Okay, another factor, that is reduction in related price of other product. So reduction in related price of other product compel the producer to increase the production of particular commodity whose prices are relatively higher. Next one, that is market infrastructure. When good communication and transport network increases, the supply of commodities also increases. That means as increasing different market infrastructure, there is increase in supply. Okay, next one is number of producer. So the change that found regarding the number of producer producing given commodity influence the supply of that particular product. Okay, then next factor, that is producer expectation about future prices. That means the price expectation influence the sales strategy of that particular producers positively. Okay, so these are the different factors affecting supply. Okay, so this is the about next exercise, that is concept of supply and law of supply, in which we see the definition and meaning of supply, then supply curve, supply schedule, law of supply, and factors affecting supply. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture, that is concept and meaning of supply and law of supply. Okay, thank you all.